Hi, so Claudia and I, who's over here, and I am Michaela, and we're both in the same class and we're basically went and looked at all the video recordings, and we also looked at the different options such as YouTube and the recording for audio, and finally decided on Screencast-O-Matic, which was online posted by Joanne Karuba, and we decided that this is the best one for us to use. Uh, as far as using video for classes, we feel it's really important to do that, and we decided to develop a math example of how it really helps to have video rather than just definitions for students to read in the and try to figure out their geometry from written words. Also, we went into issues with setting up the video camera and did a workaround for this corner video camera, and now we're starting. So what we did is we came up with the definitions for the cylinder, sphere, cone, cube, prism, and hemisphere. And as you can see over here on this side, it says a solid compound of two congruent circles in parallel planes, their interior and all the line segments parallel to the axis with endpoints on the two circles would be a cylinder. So while in a class, it would be much easier to go through, and we picked Satura Cakes. It's one of our coffee shops nearby that we like a lot, and they have really good looking pastries. So in this group of pictures, you would find cylinder here, and it would be a good option for going and finding, like, how do you find a cylinder in the real world, and having kids find ways to pick them out from whatever they're doing. So here's a regular cake, also a cylinder. Then the sphere, a three-dimensional shape whose surface consists of all the points that are a given distance from the center of the shape. Well, a statement like that, if it's all alone with no idea, it would be really hard to imagine a ball. And so we went and looked for a sphere amongst the cakes, and here's a little cute bunny rabbit. And then we could describe this is a ball, it's the shape of a ball, and when they say equidistant from the middle, it would basically be at the center of the sphere. So maybe a next step would be to show it cut open and then show the distance from the center of the sphere. Or even an actual tennis ball would be helpful. Then the cone, we picked an ice cream cone. That's actually a classic one that is shown for little kids, but I think for high school it helps too, just to remind them. And this is a cone, and what other things can they think about or find online or that would be equivalent to a cone, and then eventually they would learn the equations to measure these, and they would be able to go out and find different cones or shapes and actually measure them and bring them back for homework rather than just equations to go through and memorize. And then the polyhedron cube, we picked these little cakes that are all equilateral, probably about an inch by an inch by an inch, and that would be the cube. And then for the prism, we decided on a cake which has the long edge and the square. And then here it describes how the prism is a polyhedron of two congruent and parallel faces. So parallel faces basically would be that these lines are parallel, and then whose latter faces are parallelograms. The name of the prism is based on the shape of the base, and the base would be on these sides, wouldn't be along the edge here, but on this edge, and the shape is a square, so this would be a square prism. If the shape was a rectangle, it would be a rectangle prism, and if it was a triangle, it would look like a prism that you would use for example, to send light through and make a rainbow. Hemisphere, half of a sphere, is this one. Looks kind of like a UFO shape, even though it's a cookie. And if you go closer to the image, you can actually see, oops, the shape of the sphere, although this isn't opening up properly. There we go. The shape of the hemisphere. So this is the half, and then there's the top, and it would be very easy to really understand what they're looking at, and then introduce the ideas of these words by drawing on the images would be really good, and then eventually ask them to look for things. And that's pretty much it. So we really like the idea of using video and filming our screen, and thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.